Pigskin preview this week.
Right.
And with us right now, we have the head football coach over at Winnebago, Mark Helm, and I think he's having breakfast today. How's breakfast so far today, Coach?
Well, we haven't got started yet here, but it's going to get rolling here in a couple minutes down at the diner. So we're ready to get our stomachs full here.
I know playing on a Saturday kind of throws off the rhythm because most of the time you play on a Friday night. But how is that, especially for the opening week where, I'm sure you and your staff were maybe able to get out to a game or two last night and maybe scout some of your conference foes?
Yeah, I didn't think it was going to be, anything out of the ordinary until yesterday at school. I'm like, man, I told my assistant, I really wish we had a game tonight. I want to play, But, no, we got out last night and got to watch the game, and I'm sure there'll be a few people watching us today. So, it works both ways.
Mm-hmm.
You're opening the season against the team that, they're not in this area, but you sure hear about them a lot, St. Joe-Ogden. How did that come about, scheduling that game, Coach? And that's a long drive for them, too.
Yeah, it was one of those things where we were looking for a game pretty bad, a non-con game, and they were too, and it just so happened that, after our AD spoke and everything, we thought it was a good matchup. Enrollment is, I think, off by 2 kids is all, so you don't find too many opportunities where you can line up that close with someone and have a good opening game.
As I say, they're a team that's usually in the playoffs every year. They'll win a few games. So that's got to be a tough opening matchup for you guys, right off the bat.
It is. We got a lot of respect for that program. Coach Duvall has done a phenomenal job down there at St. Joe, and they got a great club. So, I guess the one thing I've told my kids is we're going to find out how good we are right off the bat because these guys are going to be really, really well coached, and they got a nice team.
As you start today, everybody else has got the game in the bag already, and they're already looking towards next week. Tell us about some of the offensive people you have this year leading the Indians.
Well, we have some running backs that are back from last year. Austin Leitzinger saw a lot of minutes there as a sophomore. My quarterback, Jeff Smith, started all 9 games for us last year at quarterback. He's a junior now. Nate Aldred, who won't be able to play today due to an injury that he suffered this spring, but he'll be back hopefully within a week or two. So in the backfield, we got some familiar faces. Up front, we have some new guys there. Have a few guys, Bo Kirby and Dylan Conley got a lot of time last year, but we're replacing, that interior 3, Mike Booth, Michael Ritt, and Hayden March are all kind of newcomers to the offensive line. So we're interested to see how quickly those guys can gel as a unit and hopefully open up some holes for us.
It'll say, how important is that, too, for them to gel? Because obviously you got some experience in the backfield, which is going to be good, but, if the line kind of struggles, that experience might not mean as much. How important is that to try to get them up to speed?
I think it's huge. We spent a lot of time. I mean, our numbers are down, but, we do a lot of half-line where we get to optimal coaching and really try to get as many eyes on that offensive line and develop them as quickly as we can because we know how important they are.
Defensively, how do the Indians look this year, Coach?
I feel a lot better. Well, I don't know. Talk to me about 5 o'clock. I'll let you know.
Okay.
As of right now, I feel better about our team speed on our defense. I feel that our back end of our defense, which was kind of our Achilles heel at times last year, I feel like maybe we have some of those issues solved or at least improved. So I don't know. I'm curious myself to see how they're going to play as a unit today.
How do you feel the off-season program went as a whole? As you guys go from last year into this year. How do you feel things progressed over the summer, and how ready are you guys for the first game?
I feel we're pretty ready. I mean, I say that, but we're ready to play a game. I don't know if we're ready to play a game, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Kids are eager. They're ready to go. But you're always worried about that first game jitters and mistakes and things like that. So, hopefully they just settle down and get into the rhythm of the game, and hopefully we don't make too many middle errors.
We're talking to Winnebago head football coach Mark Helm. They take on St. Joe-Ogden at home today at 3 p.m. Special teams in the Big Northern West and win or lose you a game. How do those look this year for the Winnebago team, Coach?
So far, I would like to think sound, but like I said, without a performance to gauge that on, I don't know. I know they will be very well coached in that aspect. Coach Duvall takes a lot of pride in his special teams. So I've told the kids, we got to match that phase of the game, with them because we know they're not going to make too many mistakes in that phase of the game, I don't believe, because he really prides himself as a special teams coach. So they look really sound on film that way, too. So hopefully we're up to the task in the special teams department.
It's kind of a rough night for the Big Northern West last night outside of Lutheran. How do you see the conference kind of shaking out? I think everybody kind of knows what to expect out of Lutheran, but the rest of the conference I think is kind of up in the air. Where do you guys see some challenges coming from, and do you feel like you guys can compete up at the top?
I see a challenge every week.
Yeah.
This league is a phenomenal league, and I don't put too much stock into one game.
Mm-hmm.
I know there were some teams that lost last night, but I know what Byron's going to be about. I know what Stillman's going to be about. I know what Lutheran's going to be about. And John down at Oregon does a phenomenal job. I know what he's going to be about. And Dixon and Mendota. So, no, I don't get too caught up in, one game. Things happen and mistakes, and I know what kind of league it's going to be for a 9-week haul.
And this year is the last year of the Northern, Big Northern West and East. Next year, you lose those teams. They're starting a new conference, most of the East teams. Did that cause you any problems scheduling down the road a little bit? I know you have St. Joe-Ogden this week. Does it look all right for the next couple of years for you, Coach?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's going to be, on the AD's end, a little work as far as trying to maybe find an opponent in 2 years. But it's one of those things where, I don't know if it's good or bad. I guess we'll find out over time. But we're just hoping to hang in with the rest of the conference. It's a phenomenal league. So, So who's in and who's out at this point really doesn't mean a whole lot to me. I know how good the teams are that are in.
Yeah.
When you get to the game today, first couple of minutes, what's going to be something that kind of makes you, I guess, feel a little bit better about the preparation you guys have done? What's something you could see early on that would make you say, okay, I think we are ready for this?
Well, I told the kids, I think the first week or two, it comes down to conditioning and mental errors, and I feel like we're well conditioned. At the same time, with only 21 guys on the roster at this point, you're always worried about a little fatigue there. So, obviously, I hope that doesn't occur within the first 2 minutes of the game, but that is one of my issues, is how long we can hold up physically. The other issue is just that mental error, just calming these young kids down and hopefully avoiding a catastrophe early in the game is my biggest thing. Just get them into the flow of the game. Once they get into the flow of the game, they'll be fine.
And the big question for the day is, Coach, what do you eat for your pregame breakfast? I know this is kind of an annual thing for you. We've had you on the show before when you've done this. What is the key to this breakfast?
2 or 3 eggs over easy with a sausage patty and a wheat toast has usually done me pretty well, so I think I'm going to stick with it.
And how many cups of coffee, or don't we drink coffee, Coach?
We drink a lot of it. Probably have 4 or 5 cups this morning.
Yeah.
Got to get amped up here.
And where are you eating that breakfast at? Let's give them a little love today since they're taking care of all you guys.
That's Benton Street Diner, downtown Winnebago here, right on the main strip.
Yeah, and that's kind of tradition, right?
Been coming down here for years.
Yeah.
Sorry?
You got to do that, don't you? You got to have that breakfast and to start the year.
Oh, yeah. We kind of do that as a team bonding thing. We've done it every year since I've been here. We come down on, the morning of the game and have an early breakfast as a team. So I think the kids enjoy it, gets them out of bed, gets them going. So they're pretty amped up this morning. I can tell by the noise coming out of it.
I was going to say, I think the bigger question is how much do the linemen eat?
Well, we try to restrict, extremely large portions before the game. After the game, I couldn't tell you. Probably too much.
Hey, Coach, thanks for taking.
Get a good base, but don't eat them out of house and home.
Right.
I love this kind of stuff. Hey, Coach, thanks for taking time today. Good luck against St. Joe-Ogden, and we always appreciate you getting with us at the start of the season.
All righty. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
We've been talking to Mark Helm, the head football coach at Winnebago. I know their freshman team, they had to drop the schedule that. They only have 21 out. And I think it's one of those things where maybe soccer and football, it's kind of...
Yeah.
And it's one of those deals. And we see that at some schools where that happens sometimes. But 21, you got to hopefully that nobody gets hurt. And that's what he's concerned about.
And that's the thing. A lot of guys obviously are probably going to have to play both ways. Especially when you're playing a team that's perennially pretty good in St. Joe-Ogden, you just got to hope that you can hold up physically and make a play there at the end. That's the hope, that you can hold up for 3 quarters and have a chance to make a play at the end.
We're going to take a timeout, and we're going to talk about next week's schedule in the Nick 10 because there's some big games coming up, one that I know there's a lot of interest in the area, and also kind of wrap it up today. So good to have Mark Helm on today from Winnebago. For the State Line Sports Hour, this is News Talk 1440 WROK.
You already have your clock radio.